Hello. So before I start the video, before I start thanking everyone, I wanted to touch on a little bit of a subject of self-development and just the ways that I have matured as a person and as an athlete throughout this past year and throughout this prep. I definitely think that from a personal standpoint, I have learned a lot about myself, and I have recognized a lot of issues with my personality that needed to be addressed, that I will be working on. And I definitely feel like since I've recognized these issues, I have become a much better person, a much better partner, a much better athlete, and a much better coach all in one. And the simple biggest thing that I attribute this to is just speaking to my partner a little bit more and being a little bit more open about what's going on in my head, and a little bit more open about what can get to me and what pressures I can put myself under at times. And all the thoughts that I used to get and all the feelings that I used to get, I used to keep them in. I never used to share them with Meg. I never used to share them with anyone. And it definitely led to me being a lot more stressed and not quite as pleasant to be around and not quite as pleasant as a person in general. And it definitely resulted in me being less happy. You know, I'm not an unhappy person. I'm very, very far from it. But getting in my own head without the ability to share my thoughts with anyone, and almost feeling embarrassed about sharing certain things that I wanted to share with people, definitely made me feel a certain way, and it wasn't nice. And I definitely feel like when I'm not positive, when I'm not feeling too great, and when I'm in my own head, my personality changes for the worse. And you know, you guys don't get to see it, but I definitely feel like my partner probably does, and I definitely feel like people probably around me do. And definitely ever since I've been able to recognise that and work on this, I definitely feel like I have become a better athlete, a better person in general, and all round, you know, it has been an improvement. So this is definitely a good start point to this video, because it's something I definitely feel like a lot of you will benefit from. You know, if you feel a certain way, definitely speak up and definitely be more open. And if you recognize anything that might be a flaw within your personality or within how you are in general, fix it. Like, the whole point of this series, the whole point of what I do is about sharing my mistakes with you all and learning from them. And I've been able to recognize a massive flaw in my own personality that I feel like has held me back from my own development as a person, as an athlete, and as a coach. And for me, progress across them fields is extremely important, because at the end of the day, I want to be the best bodybuilder I can. For me to be the best bodybuilder I can be, I need to be a better person all around, and I definitely feel I've recognised that. And I think Meg can definitely vouch for this if she wants to touch on this a little bit before we get into the video.
Yes, most definitely. Kuba is definitely a much better person to be around for me, and I think sometimes it's about realising you've got to show your best bits to the people who are worthy of the best bits, rather than closing off from them. Because I think that's the case with most people that have these types of things. You close yourself off from the people that care for you, the people that are trying to do everything that they can to support you, and then you end up being a little bit worse to them than kind of other people that probably aren't as worthy of you being super nice with. So Kuba's definitely matured very much so since we started being together, but definitely over the past 12 months.
Yeah, and I think, do you know what? It's definitely something that I need to say. It's definitely been a product of my own environment as well. I've got some amazing people around me and amazing people I can speak to. Like, one of them being AJ. I had a conversation about a couple of things that definitely was affecting me with him the other day, and he's always ready to give me tons of great advice. And you know, not only AJ, but you know, a lot of good people around me. You know, Charlie's been doing a lot of mentoring with me and has supported me a lot with a lot of things. You know, Jordan, all my close friends around me. that I can always speak to. You know, it's definitely a team effort when it comes to progress, and I definitely feel like I've recognised that I need to value the people around me much more, especially the people that care for me more, and that's been a big turning point for myself and a big improvement. So now we can get into the Arnold wrap up, and I can, you know, follow on with the video. So yeah, enjoy. What is going on, everyone? Today I wanted to do a little bit of a show day wrap up and the whole off-season wrap up as well. So first, I definitely would like to start with showing a little bit of gratitude towards everyone that has followed my journey, all my family, all my friends, all my clients. They have all been amazing. The support that I have been given from everyone has been ridiculous. So I really do appreciate each and every single one of you, as I literally cannot be thankful enough for the support network I've got around me. Meg, all my friends, all my clients, they've literally given back so much to me to allow me to do what I've done and be the best version of myself on stage and off stage as well. So a little bit of prep reflection, but first I'd like to definitely go through the Arnolds and share my thoughts. Definitely the biggest stage I've ever stepped on in my whole life, and it was an amazing experience. I was going to the show under no illusion that I would be getting top placings. I know where I'm at right now. I'm very realistic about my progress. I'm very realistic about where I am, and I was very happy what I brought to the stage. I was 10 pounds heavier and in better condition than last year, which definitely has led to some great improvements, and I definitely feel like I have brought a different physique to the stage, and I'm happy with what I brought. However, I will cover this in this video. There is a lot of mistakes that I have made in off-season which inevitably cost me a lot of progress, which I will rectify this off-season. So I am excited to share that with you all, but more on the Arnold's topic and how I did my placings, etc. I'm very content with what I did. I've beat some good guys. Beat the guy that won the overall at the Arnold. I beat a couple of other guys that have been very successful in the past, one of them being Oleg. He has placed top 6 before, and I've beaten him. So that definitely just shows you the standard. It was one of the strongest European shows there is. So, you know, I'm definitely happy with what I brought, and I'm happy with the placing. I'm happy just bringing a totally different package. So for me, a big win and a takeaway point is bringing a physique that is pro worthy, that is worthy of pro status. In my opinion, I don't feel like my physique was really worthy of pro status last year, whereas this year I definitely feel like it is, given the placings that I got and the progress I have made and the physique that I've brought to the stage. I definitely feel like, you know, I have achieved what I've set out to achieve last off season, which was to bring an extra 10 pounds of tissue. So I definitely think that it has been a successful year, and it's definitely been an amazing experience full of many lessons. This prep has taught me many things, and one of them being I am definitely capable of always working harder and working smarter. It's just a case of not putting too much pressure on myself and sticking to doing what truly makes me happy, and that is bodybuilding in and out. Bodybuilding is what has been the driving force of my progression, of my success, of everything that I have positive in my life. So that is exactly where my focus will be right now. You know, I always say this, I'm all in with everything I do, and I truly am. So this is a bit of an introduction to the next series that I will do, which is going to be called The Process. So I will take you all on a journey with myself and Meg and show you the process of what it takes to truly level up and truly push forward and truly progress. As I do every single year, I always say this, I will bring a much better package again. And for me, prep never ends. It's literally time to get back to work for me and back to the grind and back to the improvement season. You know, the structure, the discipline always remains. The goal just changes. That is all it is. And I'm very fortunate to have an incredible partner by my side, which shares the same values and pushes me forward, if I'm totally honest, because she is an athlete in and out. And I will show you a little transformation that we did with her. She actually has gained 22 pounds, whole 10 kilo in 1 year, which is fucking incredible. Pardon my French, but I will put a picture here somewhere of Meg's transformation, which has been amazing. So as a bit of an overview and the wrap up, you know, first I wanted to go through the Arnolds and my thoughts and share that with you all. It was an amazing experience. I loved every minute of it, and I am happy what I brought, but I know there is more in me, and I will share the journey with you all and take you all and ride with me for the next step and the next process. Right, so now I've done my little Arnold's wrap up. I would like to get on with part 2 of the video, which is a reflection of my off-season and prep. So I think first, I definitely want to touch on prep, because the reflection of my prep and the mistakes I made in prep could have been rectified throughout a better off-season. So I always say that a prep is always a reflection of your off-season. Don't get me wrong, guys. I have had a good productive off-season because I was so disciplined and regimented the whole year. So it has been extremely productive. I have gained a lot of muscle mass and tissue, but arguably it could have been better. And I have been able to break down and recognize all the mistakes that I have made throughout this off-season prep, which I will be able to rectify this off-season, as naturally, as part of one of my series, which is called Learning from My Mistakes. I always do learn from my mistakes and always move forward, and I use every single prep and off-season as an opportunity to progress and learn, which is something that I think everyone should really do in bodybuilding. And this is exactly why I love this so much, because there is always a way at which you can find to be able to progress and move forward. So as part of learning from mistakes, guys, I would like to take you through this. So first and foremost, reflections of a prep. Out of the gate, I could have pushed a lot harder during my prep. I wanted to start prep at 20 weeks out, but I didn't actually start coming down until 16 weeks out, which is definitely a mistake. It's not something that I do with my own clients, and it's something that I followed through poor advice. And at that point, that is when I took over my own prep, which is definitely a mistake I will always rectify. And moving forwards, my preps, I always prefer 20 to 24 week prep, steadily coming down from that point, which if I did it from there, I would have been in a much better position, a much better place, and it would have been a much more productive prep. Don't get me wrong, this prep still was a very, very good prep, one of the best preps I've ever done, and I was able to make good, collected, rational decisions to be able to bring a good package to the stage and not wither away any muscle at the same time. However, the mistakes that I have made has definitely resulted in me not being able to bring something that I know I am capable of bringing, which again, I will rectify in the next off season. So again, initial phase, you know, I should have held during that phase. I should have held before the prep and then push right out of the gate straight away. And again, you know, more muscle mass is needed before I start prep. We both know that, and I'm very much realistic. I need to start in a much better position before my next prep. 1, I need to be leaner before I start. 2, I need to be in a better position. I need to execute the off-season much better and a lot smarter, which now, guys, the prep kind of reflection is done. I will break down the off-season. And in terms of the prep, you know, it was a very smooth prep. I did manage, you know, to go through with it with success. However, definitely a couple of things got in the way. I had a leg injury, but nevertheless, it was still great. And I still managed to bring a decent package. But I know I'm capable of more, and I know I'm capable of better. And I'm very grateful for this prep, because it has been a very valuable lesson that I can take away as an athlete and as a coach and implement moving forward, so I don't make these mistakes again and get better as I move through the process. Right, my people, moving on to the off season. And again, I want to leave off season for the last part of this video, because again, your preparation for your show and your end product in your show is a product of your whole off season. So I want to outline some of the mistakes that I made throughout my off season. The main biggest one was not doing a maintenance phase where I back off from supplementation and hold. That was the biggest mistake that I did, again, through following instructions, where at that point I should have known that the instructions given was wrong, and that is when I should have took over back then. But again, I wanted to trust the process, and the off season I wanted to kind of let someone have the charge so I can just focus on my client work and not have the need to think, and that's a mistake I'll never let happen again. So I did do a maintenance phase, which resulted in me actually just getting softer. I hit my peak weight and I hit my peak musculature, peak size, and every time you do hit that level at which you know you've hit your peak and you're not kind of gaining anymore, that is when you need to hold, maintain and solidify all the new muscle tissue. And I actually speak about this with Dr. Scott Stevenson on one of the podcasts that I did on this channel, if you want to give it a watch. Once you have built new muscle tissue, you have to allow time for that muscle tissue to actually hold and settle. Dr. Scott explains that superbly well, but that is a conversation, for another day. But in a nutshell, I needed to go through a maintenance phase where I should have really lowered my training volume, kept the food the same, and not tried to push further more, because all that happened there is, when I needed to solidify all the new muscle tissue built, I tried to push forward more for more. I got greedy, and all it resulted in me getting softer, fatter, and arguably weaker. So it kind of made the whole process counterproductive, which again, that is such a valuable lesson, because myself and Meg will be able to see exactly at which point I will hit my peak this off season and when I will need to do a maintenance phase. And looking back, that was 24 weeks exactly into my off-season push, which was from January up until, I think it was January up until end of April, around March time, which was definitely around 24 weeks, which I know now, moving forward, I will be looking for these signs when I need to go into maintenance phase at around 24 weeks mark. Another biggest mistake, which is already rectified, is my emotional attachment to doing too much in the gym and starting out of the gate with too much training volume and rushing progression in the gym. I am very emotionally attached to my training, and this is exactly the reason why I am letting Luke Miller from No Switch Fitness actually take charge of my programming to make sure that, one, I do not let my emotions step in the way of what I'm doing in the gym. I can completely emotionally detach myself from decision making across all my fields of coaching when I'm coaching myself. One thing I still find hard is the training side of things, which is exactly why I've got Luke in for the programming and making sure that he does manage my volume, manage all my training. And not only that, but I will be running everything by Luke, as well as all the decisions that I'm making from my own coaching standpoint. So it's a partnership with Luke where I'm still coaching myself, but I'm running everything by Luke, and I'm allowing Luke to take charge of the training side of things. So it is a partnership where we will be able to be working together, but still allow myself to do what I need to do from a personal standpoint and be comfortable in the process at which coaching is. So, I'm definitely glad and I'm happy to have Luke by my side with that. And I know that, it will definitely put my mind at ease knowing that I'm not just getting emotionally attached to certain movements, for one, which definitely doing certain movements just because I enjoy them during my off season has held me back from making a lot of progress, especially doing a lot of hip hinge work and a lot of the movements that necessarily do not have any benefit for me and my own progression in my own programming and in my needs analysis in terms of what I need to progress and what I need to grow the most. I was still doing the movements that basically, in a nutshell, did not benefit me as a bodybuilder from a progression standpoint in terms of what I need. So having Luke there will definitely keep me on a leash and not allow me to go off board and do unnecessary, unnecessary stuff in the gym that just allows me to get carried away and, either get injured or drive fatigue so high that I'm unable to progress and, continue doing the stuff that just isn't productive, which I do kind of get in that zone where I focus on just doing more and more in the gym, because that's just my mentality. I'm very much a person that, is so driven. I'm willing to do whatever it takes in terms of action and working hard as well. And Meg is very much the same, as I have to hold her back continuously every single day. So it's the same thing with myself. I've got Luke here to hold me on a leash, and then I'll be holding Meg on a leash when it comes to the training and everything else. So that's pretty much the overview of the training side of things. Another biggest mistake that I made was poor supplementation choices, which actually didn't give me a true picture of where my physique is at and how much water I'm holding. how much body fat I'm holding. So, you know, definitely poor supplement choices and escalations were a little bit too quick with the supplementation as well, which again, that will be super controlled and rectified. And I feel like it will allow me to gauge progression so much more throughout this off season, and it will allow me to gauge progression with a clearer eye to see exactly where my physique is sitting at without, you know, blowing up with too much water. And just mimicking what is muscle and what is body fat, what is water retention from poor supplement choices. So I will not be making any supplement choices that are poor. And again, to go hand in hand with that, guys, it will be a much healthier option as well, which I'm excited to share with you all, that you can make incredible gains and be healthy. I actually did my blood work at 1 week out from the show, and it was surprisingly very, very good. So one, I know that I can still continue getting healthier as I have been, and show you all that there is another way, guys. You can bodybuild and stay healthy as I have done this year, and you can minimize the risks taken within bodybuilding, as I will do myself throughout this off season, next year's prep as well. So moving on, the final part of learning my mistakes with the mistakes that I made in off season was definitely pushing the food far too quick and not backing off from a food intake on time. And you know, that definitely resulted in my condition slipping too much. The biggest thing that I need to pay attention to personally, and that is a common theme with a lot of people, is you have to gauge your condition through your fattest body part. Do not try and gauge your condition through your leanest parts. Myself, personally, from the front, my abs and my quads stay very, very lean. But from the back, when I turn around, that is when we see a true picture of the marshmallow man and the fatty that I do turn to, as Meg is laughing there. But yeah, it's literally, the difference is dramatic. Like the difference in that and day in terms of condition. So from the front, I will never ever be able to gauge my condition from the front throughout my off season, because from the front, I can literally look like I'm 8 weeks out. I turn around and I look like I'm 20 weeks out, and that is legit. So the condition this off season will be predominantly judged by my rear shots only. If I see that I'm getting too soft from the rear, that is when I know it's time to pull back. And collectively, all the metrics that I do measure, blood glucose, etc., will give me a good guide with that as well. But predominantly, guys, the biggest mistake that I made was not gauging my condition through the back, which has resulted in me starting my prep way too soft, especially my glutes and my lower back and my upper back in general, which did mean that I had to push a lot harder to get these areas to come in a lot more. Whereas if I started in a position where my glutes and my back wasn't too far out, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to stay too lean, because that's just unproductive. I will allow my body fat to creep up to a level that is still productive, but not too soft as to where it was before starting my preparations. So that is the biggest thing that I need to outline and make you all aware, guys. Yes, you do need to get soft, but not to the point where your condition will suffer in a way where you have to push unnecessarily hard during your preparations to get these body parts to come in. So the true gauge of progression and true gauge of your condition is always done through your fattest body parts. Do not gauge condition through your lean parts, as I did. That was the biggest mistake I also made, which has resulted in me starting my prep in less than optimal position. So hopefully this helps, guys. This is pretty much a guide of learning from my mistakes as to where I know I went wrong and what I will rectify throughout this off season to be a lot more productive, start in a much better place for my next prep, and build a lot more muscle tissue than ever in pursuit of being competitive in the pro league and the pro ranks. I'm not where I want to be yet. I am nowhere near where I need to be yet, but I will get there in time, and I'm already climbing up the ranks, and year by year I am making progress that I do set out, and I promise I will. And I'm excited to show the process with you, share the process with you all, and show you what the process will be all about. Thank you very much for tuning in, guys. I hope this video does bring some value to you all, and as always, like and subscribe if you did enjoy the video, as there is a lot more content like this coming your way. Thank you all. I appreciate all the support, and I appreciate all the comments, guys, and I will not stop until I get to where I want to be. You know, I'm very lucky to have an amazing partner by my side who supports me all the way, and I'm very grateful for that. And I will, you know, always speak very highly of her because she does deserve it. And I feel like in last year's prep and last year's off-season, I didn't give her enough credit that she does deserve. So this year, you know, again, learning from my mistakes. I will learn from my mistakes across the board. And that means in my personal life, you will see me open up a little bit more, which I have done towards Meg. But, you know, I'm not going to open up the same way to you guys, but I am going to share a little bit more of what we do and how we do it. So the process is not just going to be about me. The process is going to be all about me and Meg as well, as we show you what we do and how we do it throughout this off season and next year's prep, whenever we do prep again. Thank you guys. Take care and peace.